Good day, everybody. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. Normally I talk about the people in politics, but today we're going to talk about our Second Amendment. More directly, we're going to be talking about guns. Now, I know it's a tough subject for a lot of people, but it needs to be discussed. The Second Amendment was given to us by our forefathers, and there's a reason for it. And the reason is self-defense and take on the government when it gets out of hand, so on and so forth, like it's getting to right now. Hopefully it'll get reeled back in and we won't have to do what the Second Amendment calls for. However, the thing is, there's no such thing as an assault weapon, no such thing as an assault rifle, unless you take that weapon and you go up and hit somebody with it, okay? In the case of the AR-15, you go up and butt stroke somebody with it. Now it's an assault weapon. If you have a handgun, you go up and pistol whip them. Now it's an assault weapon. But with all that aside, if you use the guns, the weapons, the way they were designed to be used, they cannot be considered assault weapons. So let's get that part over with right now. There's no such thing as an assault weapon unless you're butt stroking or pistol whipping people. Now, let's move on to the guns themselves. People are going to argue with me with this, but if you just hear me out, you'll understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. Guns are not unsafe. When they are handled properly, they are not unsafe. The individuals working the guns can be unsafe, just like cars, okay? Now, with a car, you can drive all day long as you're paying attention, not getting stupid, not getting road rage, not drinking and driving. You can get through your day without hitting anybody. That doesn't mean you won't be hit. All it takes is for someone to not be paying attention, not following the traffic laws, drinking, driving, road rage. That's all it takes. Does that make the car unsafe? No, that makes the driver unsafe. Okay? Well, the same thing goes for guns. You can load a gun up, put a round in the chamber, slip it on safe, lay it down on the table, the couch, the floor, in its carry case, in a gun rack, in a safe, whatever. And it will sit there just like that for as long as it's left alone. However, the minute somebody picks that weapon up, takes it off safe, pulls that trigger, now you have to worry about where that round goes. It isn't the gun. The gun doesn't make the decision as to when the trigger gets pulled or where it's pointed. The person holding the gun makes that decision. Most guns, if they are kept in repair, will sit there, like I said, all day, all week, all month, all year, decade, 100 years. However, with a round sitting in it, it'll never go off. Never. Alright? Just like a car in good repair will not hit another car until somebody gets stupid. So, let's get rid of this anti-gun thing. Let's start realizing that guns are essentially tools. They are meant to do something, and when used properly, it will accomplish the job you want it to do, and it'll be done right. Just like a hammer. It can be used as a weapon if it's used improperly. A hammer is meant to drive nails, or in some cases break things apart, depending on what your hammer's designed for. Like a sledgehammer. You can break things apart, split wood, all that other good stuff. A wrench is meant to turn bolts and screws. A screwdriver is meant to turn screws and bolts, depending on what the setup is. A level is meant to check and make sure everything's sitting the way it's supposed to be. However, when misused, it becomes a weapon. Somebody can get hurt, possibly killed. Same with a gun. It's a tool. When used improperly, somebody's going to get hurt or killed. It's a tool. No, a lot of you ain't going to agree with me. You got this in your mind that guns are unsafe. But if you just open up your mind a little bit, think about what I said, you'll realize what I'm telling you is true. It ain't the gun that's unsafe. Sometimes the individual holding the gun that's unsafe. Most gun owners, most gun users are very safe and very serious about how they handle their guns. I have dealt with many individuals while hunting, target practicing, and everything else, and the last thing they want is anybody to get hurt, whether it be by you or themselves. They will, and most gun owners, if you're handling your weapon improperly, will point it out to you. They will say, hey, you're not going to handle that weapon that way. Alright? So, get rid of the thought that all gun owners are killers. We're not. I'm a gun owner. I have yet to kill anybody. I have yet to pull my gun out in anger. I have yet to use it for any reason but target practice and hunting. Yes, I have them for safety, for self-defense, but I've never had to use them for self-defense. I've been fortunate there. There are people out there that have had to use them for self-defense. And you know what? More power to them. I'm glad they had them. I'm glad they were able to defend themselves with them. However, those individuals running around shooting places up, they do not represent the majority of the gun owners. They represent majority, or they represent only the bad, unskilled, uneducated gun owners. I suggest if you want to own a gun, you get yourself educated on how to handle that gun, or any gun. Most guns are pretty much the same in handling procedures. There might be a couple of them that are different when it comes to loading and unloading. There might be a couple of them that are different when it comes to applying the safety. But in the end, you load them, you aim, you pull the trigger, they fire, and so on. Okay? Now, there's one thing I do need to discuss. Back during when there was the Parkland shooting, this Air Force general, and I'm so ashamed because I was in the Air Force. This Air Force general really made me ashamed of him. Okay, he's a retired Air Force general. He took an AR-15, pulled the trigger once every couple seconds, said that's semi-automatic. Then he says this is fully automatic, and he pulled the trigger several times and did it in a quick succession and said that's fully automatic. He does not know what he is talking about. Definition of a single shot is you fire one round, you have to reload. Definition of a semi-automatic, you pull the trigger, one round goes off. The only way another round is going to go off is if you pull the trigger again. One trigger pull, one round. That's how a semi-automatic works. Doesn't matter how fast you pull the trigger or how slow you pull the trigger. If you're pulling the trigger, that's when one is going to go off. Automatic has multiple rounds going off for one trigger pull. Okay? For example, the M16, the last I heard, the military got M16s to do 4-round bursts. That means you pull the trigger, 4 rounds go off when it's in the, automatic mode, okay? The older style M16s, you pull the trigger in automatic and it keeps going off until you release the trigger, alright? But in the semi-automatic mode, you pull the trigger once, 1 round goes off. Each time you pull the trigger, a round goes off until the magazine is empty. If you've got a problem with that, please feel free to comment. I'll go toe-to-toe with anybody on this subject. It's time that the American people who don't know anything about guns got educated about guns. Because quite frankly, there may come a time where you're going to need one. You're going to want to know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to hurt yourself or somebody you don't want to get hurt. There may come a time where your sole survival will depend on a gun. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to get it done. tell you right now, if you look at Europe, where they've outlawed most reasons to have a gun, what happened? You're getting attacked by knives. I'm going to tell you right now, knives are just as deadly as guns. So what are you going to do? Get rid of pocket knives too? Is that next? Sorry, ain't happening on my watch. Have a good day.